Okay, we're gonna get started in just a couple more minutes. We're waiting on more people. But before we begin, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Christina, and I'm going to present the Windows 10 Basics class this evening. Before we begin, I am going to also let you know any upcoming classes that we're going to have, including at the end of this month, March 22nd. We're going to have a streaming services, streaming devices, and you virtual program. So that's going to be Monday, the 22nd at 2 p.m. You can sign up for it just the same way as you signed up for this class. And then upcoming in March, we are going to have an iPhone Intermediate using apps virtual program on April 12th at 6:30 p.m. And then on April 26th, we're going to have a Facebook Basics virtual program at 2 p.m. Okay. And also, before we begin, yes, you guys are muted, but if you have any questions during the class, there should be a chat function on the bottom of your screen. Just click on that, and then you can type in your questions. And I'll be pausing every few minutes or so to see if there has been any new chats in the chat. So we'll get to your questions. Okay. And so, to begin, this is Windows 10. Windows 10 is a software program for your computer, based program. And so you'll see on my computer that I have Windows 10. We'll start with some terminology. And so first to begin is the Start menu, which can be found in the bottom left corner of the screen. If, you'll see on my screen, it's the bottom left here. And this is where you can access a majority of your programs and your settings. Also new to Windows 10, they have what is called tiles. As you can see here on this right side right here, this is what they call the tiles. This is another way to access your apps, your favorited apps, such as Mail here, the Office. Over here we have Skype, and then the Microsoft Store. And then apps and programs are what they call the software on your computer, such as Google Chrome, Microsoft Word, and iTunes, and Skype. We also have this main screen here is what is called the desktop. And so you will see this every time you first boot up your computer or your device. This is the desktop. And these right here are called shortcuts. So it is a shortcut to your most favorited programs. Also new to Windows 10 is what's called Cortana. It is this little circle here. It's like a search function. So what it is, you would click on it, and you could—
I can learn to understand you much better if I can get familiar with the way you talk. I need your permission to help.
So, as you can see, it talks to you. What it does is you can use your voice to search for programs and apps on your computer. Or you could also, if you wanted to, just type in right here, and you could search for programs. Also, at the bottom here is what's called the task bar. So again, it is your some favorited programs and also the programs that you have open here. So you can see in mine, this little E here is for Microsoft Edge. It's a web browser. Here is the little file explorer where I can search for my files. This is the little Windows store where I can buy more programs. This is an email icon. This is for Task Manager. And this is for Google Chrome. And this right here is for Zoom, which I have open. This is how we're watching the program today. So those programs can show up on the bottom of your screen in the taskbar. And if you can see, some of them have a little blue line under them. That means that program is open right now. So I have Chrome open, I have Zoom open, and I have the File Explorer open. So what I'm going to explore first actually is the File Explorer, where you can find your files. There you go. Once it loads up, give it a moment. Let's see, does anyone, I'm going to check the chat and see if anyone had any questions so far actually as well. Nope, it does not look like it. Let me open and close this again. Well, I seem to be running into technical difficulties. Give me one moment. There we go. Okay, you should be able to see the screen now. So this is the File Explorer. And what it is, this is where you can access any documents you've created, such as Word documents or PDFs. When you first open it, it's going to open to your most recently used files, such as right here. You could double click on them, and it would open them up. Otherwise, on the left side here, it has some subcategories of different folders. The desktop is any programs that you have on your desktop, which would be right here. So I would open these. Otherwise, downloads is anything you've downloaded either from like a flash drive or from the internet. Then you also have documents or your pictures. And then these are exclusive just to my computer, but there's also Android devices, a Kindle file folder, or Windows 10 Basics folder. Also exclusive to my device, I have a OneDrive folder here. And this PC, it also includes anything that is exclusively on my device. Network is if your device happens to be connected to other devices via a network, then you could access those. And then also, if you have plugged in like a little flash drive, a thumb drive, it would appear at the bottom here. It would have the name of the flash drive. And then you would be able to double click on it and you could access the files there on that flash drive. So when you open a folder, if it has this little icon here, looks like a little manila folder, you could open it and it would show all the files that are in that folder. So very much like a physical thing. When you have a folder, you have several sheets in there, several documents. So you would open up the folder and it would show each document that's in that folder. So, and also when we're here, you could see at the top here, there are several other sections. You could copy or paste any documents into the folder that you have opened. If you have, say, a file selected, you can see move to. That means you can move this specific file to another folder. You would click on it, and it would give you options of which folders you can move it to. Copy to means it makes a copy of the document, of the file. And so it would leave one copy in the folder you have open. And then it would also create a copy, and you can put that copy into another new folder. Deleting would then delete that file you have selected. But what it does is it doesn't do it forever. It actually moves it to something called the recycle bin, where it keeps a smaller, like a compressed file version of it. So it doesn't completely delete it from your computer, just in case you accidentally deleted it. It keeps a version of it in the recycle bin. But then if you want to permanently delete it, you would have to open the recycle bin and then delete it from the recycle bin as well. You also have the option to rename the file if you want. You can also create a new folder, which would then just create a new blank folder for you to then put new documents in. And then properties tells you more specifics of that file, like when it was created, last time it was modified, how large it is, so that's kilobytes, and stuff like that. Also says that there, the size of the file, the type of file it is. This is a Microsoft Word document. Last time it was modified, and the name of it, stuff like that. If you were to right-click on your mouse instead of left-clicking, right-clicking, it will also bring up another extra menu for it in a moment. My computer apparently is running slow today. I apologize. Oh, while it's working on that, I can also show you a little bit more of the start screen here. So again, the start menu is shown in the bottom left of your screen. And you will see some icons along here as well. You will see a little start menu here when you hover over it, it expands it so you can read everything. But here is where you would find your little profile. So I'm logged in under myself right now. And what that does is, this is, if you were to click on it, this is where you would have the options to either go to your account settings. You could lock the computer, so it puts it in like a sleep mode. It won't completely turn it off, but it'll put it in a sleep mode where you would then have to sign in again. You can sign out, or you can switch user if you have multiple users on your device. Documents is where then it will pull up the File Explorer again. This is where you can go and look at any pictures you have saved on your device. Here is where you could go into settings, which I'll go into in just a moment. And this is where you can find the power options, where you can put it into either sleep mode, you could restart your device, or if you want to completely turn off your device, this is where you could do it. Along here is where it lists all your applications you have alphabetically, and you will have numbers at the top, and then it goes A, B, C, and so forth. This is where you could get into your applications. Or you could also have, if you have any favorited applications, this is where you could find it here. And again, this is the search function. So if you're looking for a specific document or specific program, this is where you could type it in. We also have up here frequent apps, your documents, where you can search for documents again as well. This is where you can search the web right from here if you want, if you don't want to open up an internet browser. And under more, this is where you can also get to email, folders, music, people, photos, settings, and videos. Okay, I'm going to see if anyone has any questions yet. Again, the chat function should be in the bottom of your screen. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So when you right click on a file, it pulls up this little pop-up menu here. This is where you can open. This is where you can edit. You can create a new file. This is where you can print the file. You can share it on Skype. 7-zip we usually you won't have to deal with. This is if you wanted to create it into a zip file, but a lot of times those aren't used much anymore. This is where you can share. You can also open with Google Chrome or an editor or a viewer, but usually you open it with the file type it is, so it would be Word. You can also send it to, this is where you can send it to either other files, or you can even email it from here. This is where you could delete the file as well, or rename it, or create a shortcut, which if you were to do that, it would then create a shortcut on your desktop. So for example, this little activity sheet, Windows 10 Basics, if I create a shortcut, it's going to create a shortcut in this file, and then if I were to minimize this, Still creating it. Oh, it's frozen again. Let me move on to settings real quick. So again, settings you can find in the little start menu, or you can also search for it right down here in the search bar. It will open up, and what settings does is where you can find a lot of settings for sound or your desktop. Lots of customization options. There we go. And it's also where you can set up some of your devices for the first time. So under System is where you can do settings for display, sound, notifications, your power, your battery life, any tablet mode if you have a tablet, and other things. So, such as display, if your display is too dark or too bright, this is where you can move this back and forth to change the brightness for your display. You can either even change the color, size, and scale of your layout. So if some of the words are too small, you can increase the size so it's better for you. This is also multiple displays, so if you have two computer screens, this is where you could do it, or if you're trying to project to something, this is where you could do it. Sound. This is where you can change the speakers and the headphones. So if you have new speakers to plug in, this is where you could choose to put the new speakers. This is also controls the volume for your computer, as well as down here on the taskbar as well. There is sound, the battery life, which internet you're connected to, and for mine, since I'm on a tablet, the electric pens and a keyboard. This is where, if you have a microphone put in, this is where you can test the microphone as well. Notifications for your computer. This is where you can edit them. So if you have any notifications from like your email app, this would show up here. This is where you can set the notifications for that. I apologize that my computer seems to have frozen again. There we go. Okay, so onto power and sleep. So this is for if you want to have more screensaver. So say you step away from your computer for a while and you wanted to turn the screen off while you're away. This is where you can do it. If you have, for laptop, if you're running on battery power, so that means if your laptop / tablet is not plugged in, then the screen will turn off after 10 minutes. But if you have it plugged in, for me at least, it will turn off after 15 minutes. So if you want to change that, you would just click on that, and you have several options to choose from. If you want the computer to go to sleep, so if it's in sleep, then it uses even less battery power than if just the screen was off. Then you can change that here as well. Again, if you don't have it plugged in, then it runs on battery power. But if you have it plugged in, then it's going off the power in your wall. And this, if you wanted to disconnect from the network, so that's exclusively from my PC since it's connected to several different other PCs as well. Battery gives you a little bit of overview of how your battery works. And then you can also put it into battery saver mode here, which means it will use less battery power, might run a little bit slower, your display might dim, but it will use less battery power. And then it will say, turn on battery saver automatically if a battery percentage falls below this number. I would have to check this box if I wanted it to be on. Here we go. And there's some other ones here, but let me go back to this one, to devices. This is where you can customize your devices, such as mice, keyboards, other speakers, the printers or scanners. This is where you can usually set it up the first time if you're connecting them. Bluetooth, if some devices are Bluetooth enabled, that means it can connect to your device wirelessly without having to be a wire. So, for example, I actually have a wireless mouse, so it doesn't have a cord that needs to attach to my computer. It just uses Bluetooth. You can also see it right here, the little travel mouse. It says it's connected right now. My keyboard is connected by USB, so it has to be plugged in. Then I have my little headphones I'm using. The headset has a little microphone attached to it. And then also my phone apparently has also been paired to this device before. So it shows all that's been connected. But if I want to add another one, I would have to click on this plus right here. And it would ask me what kind of device do I want to connect, whether it's a Bluetooth or some kind of wireless display or anything else, which would fall under maybe game controllers or anything else that might fall under there. I would click which one I would want to connect, and then it would connect it. Over here is printers and scanners. So this is the old type of printers or scanners has ever been connected to. Shows all the whole list. And so, but if I want to add a new one, I would have to again click the plus, and it would try to find a new one. Right now it's not going to be able to find anything. But it would try to find it. If it can't find it, then you would click on this, and you would probably have to type in what the name of it is and stuff like that. And it'd be a whole process, but it would guide you through it. Right here, the mouse is actually where I can set up the mouse. Actually, if you don't want left button to be the primary button on the mouse, you could choose the right button. Especially if you're like right-handed, or not right-handed, sorry, left-handed. So then you will want the right side actually to be on your pointer finger. And this controls how fast it actually scrolls. here is also helps you choose how fast it will scroll, like up and down a page. Typing, you can set up more settings for typing, whether you want autocorrect on or not. Want to highlight misspelled words such as that. You can even have turn on and off the little text word suggestions when you're typing in certain programs. There's also for touch keyboard. If you have a touchscreen device, you can even have more settings for touchscreen. Let's skip down to USB. No, this is where you can have more notifications for when you're connecting or having troubles connecting with USB devices. Back to the home page of settings. I'm gonna switch over to network and internet. This is how you pair your device to your wireless internet or any other internets. This is where you can set that up, where you can show available networks. This is also where you can have network troubleshooter if you're having any issues connecting to your wireless internet. It's also Wi-Fi. This is where you can turn on and off your device Wi-Fi as well. Dial-up, in case you still have dial-up. A VPN. This is where you can set that up. And also airplane mode, just in case you have a device that's able to go on airplane, so like a laptop or a tablet. This is where you can put it into airplane mode, which I do suggest when you are flying. This also shows any data usage you might be having, just in case you're not connected to a Wi-Fi. Scooching over to personalization, this is where you can actually customize your device more. You can customize the desktop. They give you some basic pictures to choose from if you want, but you can also choose pictures from your computer if you were to select browse. You can also choose what they call the fit of it. So right now I have it on fill, so if the picture fills up the entirety of the background of my desktop. But you even can do fit or stretch or tile, which then kind of turns it into tiles. You can just center it, but then you can have a lot of black. Or span, which is very similar to fill. Then you can even choose colors for your tiles and stuff like that. Right now I have my little accent color on blue, so you can kind of tell things are kind of blue. But if I were to change it to red, you can see in here the tiles are now red, and the little borders of my programs would be red. This is turned red, stuff like that. You can also under lock screen, which is what you usually see when you first turn on your screen, but you haven't logged into your profile yet. Be a little lock screen. So again, you can change that picture on that if you would like. There's also themes, which again would just slightly change like the start menu and stuff like that. And even the mouse cursor, you can even change the mouse cursor if you want. And then also fonts. So again, it would just change the fonts on like the settings or in the start menu. Accounts is where you would set up or make any changes to your accounts. When you very first turn on your device, it should have asked you for your name and to create a username and sign in. But here is where you could change some sign-in options. So mine, for example, it requires a sign-in. But if you wanted to, you could change that to not require a sign-in if you wanted to. There's also emails and accounts. So you could attach an email to this device, and then it would put that email in the start menu tiles here. It would put that in the mail. So you could attach your email to this computer. And here also on this page, you could create a picture for yourself if you wanted. Like you could take a picture of yourself with your camera or choose a picture from here if you wanted to have a picture here instead of just the standard outline of a person. Also here in time and language is where you can set the time zone for your computer. And you can have it adjust for daylight savings time automatically if you want. This is the region. You can choose the country. It is usually standard the United States. And usually the format is in English automatically. Here is where you can change the language just in case English is not your first language. You can change it here. They usually have a pretty good selection. I cannot, since this is a work computer, I cannot change the language, but you could if you're here. And here is where you can also set the speech language. So when Cortana is speaking to you, she can talk to you in English or another language. Here are some other good ones. In ease of access, this again, in case you have any impairments, this can help you manage your device easier. Here are some vision settings. So again, for display, you can make sample text big. You can make text bigger in case it's harder to read, so you can make it bigger or smaller. This is where it makes everything bigger, so it increases the size of everything, even pictures. This is where it makes it brighter. Under cursor and pointer, you can make the cursor bigger. It's gonna make it quite bigger or quite smaller. You can even make it black in case the white one is hard to see. Or you can even change the different colors on it. You can change the different colors of the pointer. Also, it can make the cursor bigger, so like the little line that shows up in Word documents that shows where you're typing, you can make the cursor a lot bigger or smaller. Here, they also have a magnifier, which I kind of like. It magnifies what you're hovering over. So I have mine off right now. I can turn it on, and it would magnify what I'm hovering over. Again, this changes the zoom level of the magnifier, so whatever you're hovering over, you can choose how large or small it makes it. There's also color filters here in case there's any color blindness. Or there's also a high contrast here. Or they also even have a narrator where it would read whatever you ask it to read. Under here is also for any hearing impairment, so audio. against the sound. But then there's also closed caption, so you can ask it to create some closed captions. And then here is also for speech, so if you wanted to talk into it, there are some settings for talking into the computer. There's also more keyboard settings here. There's also more mouse. So if you were to have a keypad on your device, which is like the little square near the front of your device, especially if you have a laptop where it's very smooth, where you can use your fingers to use as a keypad. And there's even options for eye control, but you would have to have an eye tracking device first. You would have to set it up with the computer, and then it would give you options for that eye control device. At the very bottom here is also where they have update and security. This is where you would find the Windows updates for your device. And you do want to check on this probably at least once a week to see if it has any new updates. Let's see, it's loading in right now. But you can set it for whether you want it to automatically update for you, and then you would set a time that it would automatically update for you. Or you can manually update it, which then you would probably have to check in once a week to see if there was any updates. And then you can manually update. Usually your device then, once it downloads the updates, it then usually needs to restart so that the updates fully take effect. This is also where you could troubleshoot if you're having any problems with Windows update or security. Right here is also Windows security. Usually Windows 10 comes with a basic firewall and basic virus protection on it. There's also a backup section. Once it loads in, this is some where you can also store a backup of your files that are on your computer, usually like into a cloud. There you go. So I'm going to check see if there's if there's been any questions yet in the chat. Looks like one. Okay. So Windows 10, it is still their most recent product, though it is, I would say, maybe 2 years old. And then to find the settings button, you can click on the Start menu, which is in the bottom left corner here, the little Windows tile. You would click on it, and it's the little gear here. And you would click on it, and it would bring you up to this menu here, which you could then go through, or actually, if you're trying to find a specific setting, you can actually click on this search bar right here, and you would just type it in. So say I'm trying to find something about mouse. I could click on it, and it would bring up the mouse settings here. And so Windows 10, yes, it is their most recent product. I do not think there's been any news yet if there's going to be a new one at any time. But this is their most recent one, the most up-to-date one. That was the system settings. If anyone has any other questions about that as well, just let me know. You can put it in the chat. It should be in the bottom left corner. let's see. I'm also then going to touch on Microsoft Edge, which is the internet browser that standardly comes preloaded in Windows 10. There are other internet browsers as well, such as Google Chrome or Firefox. Here's Microsoft Edge. It is an internet browser. And so you would see here, they have the search bar at the top. And here, they have what's called a tab, 2 tabs. And you can use it to search the internet, such as going to, say, Yahoo, like that. And it comes preloaded again onto Windows 10. Looks like I'm getting a couple more questions actually. For emptying the cache, do you mean such as like a disk defragment or clearing your history? Because for like disk defragment or disk cleanup, you can actually search for it here in Cortana, right here. Disk cleanup. There it is. You would click on it, and it would open up, and you would be able to clean up any extra, what they would call like miscellaneous files. And I would say you would only have to do that. Again, it depends on how much you're actually using your device as well. But say you're using your device a lot, maybe once a month, or if you notice that your device seems to be running slower, you can do that. If you're not maybe using your device that month, maybe twice a year, but it depends on how much you're using the device and how slow it seems to be going. Because the newer your device is, the less you usually have to do it, but the older it gets, the more you usually have to do it. Oh, web searches. Okay, for web searches, I do cleaning web searches maybe once a week, and maybe if I've put in sensitive information into a website and I want that cleared, then I would do it immediately after I've done that. But maybe once a week for clearing your history on the web searches. And then the other question I saw, give me one moment. Oh yes, it was what types of things would one use use Cortana for? Cortana for. Usually you would use it if you're just trying to bring up a document real quick. You would just click into the search bar here and you would just start typing in the name of the document and it would pull it up for you real quick. But other people have also used Cortana for web searches. So when you pull it up here, you could click here on web, and then you could just start typing in your search here, and it would search the web for that real quick. It would probably pull it up in Microsoft Edge if you did it this way. So that's usually the different types of things, either for web searches, right from your start screen, or if you're trying to find a document or an app real fast without having to go into the file explorer. That's how you could use Cortana real fast. Oh, and then to empty your history, it will vary on what browser you're using, but usually you would find it under history here. So I'm in Microsoft Edge right now, and I just hit what's called the ellipses over here, these 3 buttons. I click on it, and then I can go to history here. There it is. And right here, you can click clear history. And it's going to ask you what you want to clear. You do browsing history, the cache here, the cookies, tab. You can also include downloads, your passwords. Usually don't say passwords, but here you can click it. And then, once you're all ready, you can tell it to clear. And then it will just clear history for you real quick. Very similar to, say, if you were using Google Chrome. It's the three little dots here. Click on it, go to history, click. And it's going to show you your history. And over here in Google Chrome, it's going to be on the left side here. Click. It'll give you what you want to clear, and even from how long ago. You can say the last hour, last 24 hours, or all time. And then once you're ready, you click clear data, and it will clear it for you. There we go. Seeing some more questions coming in. Just give me a moment. Okay, yeah, how to clear web searches. That's how you do it. Where's the equivalent to my computer when you're looking for external drives, etc.? So yeah, if you're looking, I'm assuming you mean like if you've like plugged in a flash drive, where to find it. So you would go to the File Explorer, which is like this little manila folder here, or you can find it in the search function and just say File Explorer. It would open it up. Click it here, and you see on the left side here, it gives you all types of files. This BC is means what is on the hard drive of your computer. But if you were to have a little flash drive plugged in, it would probably say underneath this the name of the flash drive, or what's called a D file, because as you can see, a hard drive is a C, and a flash drive is usually a little D file. So it'd say the name of the flash drive here, and you could just click on it, double click on it, and it would show the files that are saved on that flash drive. That's how you would find files on your flash drive. You gotta go to your File Explorer. There we go. That's the questions so far. But I will let you guys know we're actually approaching the end. We got about 5 more minutes left. So if there's anything else I haven't gone over yet that you have questions about, please put them in right now. Let's see, make sure I got everything I was going to touch on. I will actually real quick let you know of a little trick I use for if any programs are crashing or are unresponsive. So if a file seems like it's frozen or something like that, and it seems like you can't access your computer while the file is frozen, what you can do is on your keyboard, you would press Control Alt and Delete all at the same time. So it's Control, the little Alt button, Alt, and Delete. If you press it at the same time, it pulls up the little blue screen that asks if you want to open, if you either want to lock your computer, switch the user, to sign out, to change a password, or to open what's called Task Manager. And what Task Manager does is it shows all the programs you have open at the time. It's this little small window. It shows you all the programs you have open at the time. And if you should be able to see the one that would be giving you trouble. If you see the one that's giving you trouble, what you do is you would click on it, and then at the very bottom it says if you want to end that task. If you click on it, it will close that program that's giving you trouble, and then you can reopen it and try again. So that's for if a program or something like that is giving you trouble, if it's frozen. You can Control-Alt-Delete, ask to open Task Manager, and then you can select the program that's giving you trouble, and you can end that program. Let's see if we've got another question. Oh, so thank you. You're welcome. We are getting close to the end, so again, I'm going to reference what programs, tech classes we have coming up in the next couple months, just in case, because I know there was a couple of people who came in late. On March 22nd at 2 p.m., we're going to have streaming services, streaming devices, and you. And again, it's a virtual program, so you can sign up the same way you signed up for this program. In April, on April 12th, it's a Monday, we have iPhone Intermediate using apps at 6:30 p.m. Again, it's a virtual, so you can sign up the same way you signed up for this one. And then on April 26th, we have Facebook Basics at 2 p.m. It's a virtual program, so you can sign up the same way you signed up for this one. I'm going to give everyone a couple more minutes, just in case we had any last minute programs. Last minute questions, I apologize. And always, if you have any other questions once this program is done, you can always call in to the library, phlibrary.org. You can call in for the public services if you have any tech questions or anything like that. You can call in at 708-448-1473 and just ask for public services. And we can answer any tech questions you have. We'll be having the program again in the future. It's very possible. We try to do these programs every once in a while, but we'll probably put a few months in between it. So maybe not again until the end of this year or next year. But we do try to have the programs again every once in a while, just in case people miss it the first time. Okay, well, again, I'll probably have the chat open for a couple more minutes, but thank you everyone for coming, and I hope again to see you real soon. Hope I see